Adam Rizzieri is the Chief Marketing Officer, Agency Partners Interactive. Good guest of this program. We've had Adam on a lot, and he's standing by right now on the University of Cincinnati online hotline. Adam, how are you on this glorious Saturday?
Ken, I'm doing great. And you know what? I have not been vaccinated, but guess what? I'm still doing okay, you know? I'm actually doing great today. It's Saturday. You know, it's interesting what's kind of going on here, right? You know, 60% of Americans say big brands are obligated to encourage people to get the vaccine, but then 40% of Americans, you know, and this is the group that I identify with, are a little bit hesitant. The 18% of that 40% are maybes. Maybe we'll get vaccinated. 22% of that group of Americans are just outright no's. Like, never, man, I'm not doing it.
Are you an outright no, Adam? Are you an outright no, or are you on the fence?
I'm a maybe. You know, I'm on the fence. And so here's the thing, right? It's a personal decision. Me as an individual, I'm in my late 30s. I'm very physically active. I do have some pre-existing concerns that I would like to talk to a doctor about. You know, I have asthma. I've had that since I was a kid, just sports-related asthma. And my blood's a little bit thick, right? And I've heard concerns of blood clotting. But the thing is there are 12% of Americans in our country that are just historically anti-vaxxers, people that will never get vaccines, mostly for religious reasons, right? So the data we have now says there are 22% of these people that are in the no category. My belief is with some data and some case studies that make people feel a little bit more confident about their decision, you can probably actually get that 22% down to 12%, back to that normal number of anti-vaxxers in our country.
Would you agree with me? And it sounds like maybe you don't, but I'll ask anyway. I asked it in the intro to our segment. Would you agree that anybody that wants to get vaccinated has been vaccinated? It's all over the place. I mean, maybe in New York there could be some sort of shortage. Maybe in Michigan, which I don't know what's going on up there. They've got kind of an autocratic governor up there, but I mean, would you agree that everybody that wants to be vaccinated has been vaccinated? So what's the point of Google and Walgreens and Sam Adams and Budweiser drilling us?
Yeah.
Wearing us down with these messages?
Yeah, they really are. But I mean, obviously the priority was to take care of those who were truly in the at-risk categories. Kids are not in that category, but certainly taking care of our seniors. And Florida did a great job of that entire effort of vaccinating those who either wanted to be vaccinated or, you know, from the recommendations of public officials should get vaccinated. I was always just kind of, you know, that guy who was just going to say, you know what, I'm pretty healthy. I'm okay. I'm going to obviously let the people that feel like they need to be vaccinated first do that, right? That's kind of where I stood on things originally. But, you know, the big brands are not doing enough, though, to actually give the maybes the information that they want to actually decide whether or not they're going to get vaccinated. If we have more data come out, like case studies, personal anecdotes, things that talk to side effects to expect, and give us real education, not indoctrination. Don't make the vaccine cool. Make it believable and relatable, and speak to what happens if you're pregnant or you have cancer or an autoimmune disorder. The 18% of people that are hesitant want information. They're open to the vaccine. They're open-minded. But the advertising you're seeing at the mainstream level, TV commercials, these are all really just kind of like designed to make the vaccine cool, but it's not enough. You know, Walgreens had a partnership with John Legend, and it was like this really nice commercial that was kind of speaking to good times past, backyard barbecues, hugging grandma, going to sports events, stuff like that. Sam Adams is a brand, you know, they had your cousin from Boston, and he's just encouraging you to go get the vaccine, and you don't have to drop your pants because it's a jab to the arm, using humor and stuff like that. But if you just start to share case studies with health professionals and people that are a little bit more at the ground level, community leaders, local health officials, let us know what to expect if we're pregnant or trying to get pregnant, or maybe we just battled cancer and won, or we're currently in the middle of a fight like that. Give the 18% of those maybes, and maybe convert 10% of those no's towards the 60% to achieve herd immunity.
Yeah.
We're really close, honestly, too.
Yeah, and there are some that say we've already achieved herd immunity, and if you factor in all of this, who's been vaccinated, who's had it and didn't know they had it, and who's had it and knew they had it, that we're almost there right now. But I go back to messaging. I think it's so important. The messaging out of Washington, D.C. was horrendous on this from the jump. There was conflicting information. You had the leading health official in this country, Dr. Anthony Fauci, or Lord Fauci, as I refer to him, who, admitted he lied to us at the beginning about masks. And I go back to a trust thing. You're going to believe, and you know this because you're a marketing official, you're going to believe people you trust. You're going to buy a product you trust. And if you pick up a box of home instant macaroni and cheese and you put it into a pot and make it, and all of a sudden it looks like French onion soup, you're not going to buy that product anymore. So I think the messaging on this has been off base. And now it almost seems like a scramble to convince people to do something that they were hesitant to do before, and then found out that, nobody really knew what the hell was going on back in March and April and May of 2020. I think we've hit a point of diminishing returns on this. I think we're at it. I don't think that you're going to see much of a movement on that 40% at all. I hope you're right, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, nobody trusts the messaging that's coming out. And it's like for a while, when marketers are having trouble with credibility, look to customer reviews and real case studies and real personal anecdotes that people will trust. If we can start to look to those who have literally fought cancer and won and been vaccinated, they can be sort of an example of what to expect for others who might be in their same set of shoes. Mm-hmm. Don't believe the marketing, believe the data. And I do believe that group of 40%, you'll find a lot more people either choose to get the vaccine or they'll realize that they already had COVID, they have the antibodies, and they're good. So I do believe that we are very close to where we need to be from a health goals perspective, just as it pertains to herd immunity. But Ken, you spoke about Washington. Okay, so 45 minutes leading up to Biden's address to Congress last week, it shows a bunch of lawmakers in the chamber not wearing masks. They're kind of like doing the face bikini with the mask around their chin, giving hugs, kissing people on the cheek. Yeah. These are all lawmakers that are vaccinated, so those masks are doing nothing. If you want to sell the concept of a vaccine, man, get rid of those masks because you're vaccinated in the chamber and be an example for what life could be like with COVID not being a concern,
Well, exactly. And if the CDC says you don't have to wear a mask outdoors, which is what they've said, why the hell is the President of the United States wearing a mask outdoors? I mean, to me, it's like, pick a narrative and stick to it.
Ken, why is he wearing it on a Zoom meeting,
Right. The only one among all the world leaders wearing a mask. Now, to my knowledge, he doesn't have any compromising physical conditions like a bad ticker or asthma or anything else. If he does, then that's a problem. That's a news story. But I think the example from Jump on this has been bad. Adam Rizzieri, Chief Marketing Officer, Agency Partners Interactive, and we're talking about Google and Walgreens, Sam Adams, Budweiser, WWE telling us, get the vaccine, get the vaccine. How much of this do you think, knowing what you know about marketing, how much of this do you think is going to be baggage for these companies? And it's not just the 4 or 5 I mentioned, but there are other companies as well. How much is going to be baggage going forward for these major companies? Because when you preach, and people aren't listening, it has to have an effect. Will it have an effect to any great degree for any of these companies?
Great question. The data does show that the American public wants education and not indoctrination. The risk that these companies are taking right now, honestly, they're probably going to be fine. A lot of big brands are struggling to find ways to be relevant and to connect with the public and to be timely and obviously kind of moving from obviously a lot of the rioting and social justice issues that have kind of hit us in the past few months, in the past year. This for big brands is actually a lot safer, considering that a majority of the public now either has been vaccinated or has had COVID and now has the immunities to it. Their messaging is very kind of lofty. They evolved over the last few months from saying, basically sharing education about where people could find resources about where to get vaccinated, what it costs, if anything, which we know it doesn't cost anything.
Right.
To now actually encouraging people to get the vaccine so that we can, quote, get back to normal. This is pretty low-risk messaging. The thing is, though, it's kind of just spinning wheels. This is not the messaging that's going to change that group of 40% of Americans. It is those real customer reviews, the case studies. You'll notice also, Ken, a lot of the ads that are coming out look and sound very similar.
Yes.
The big brands that are running these advertisements have associations and affiliations with the Ad Council, which is kind of like this bipartisan, non-profit connector between the government and big business. There's 144 companies that sit on the board of the Ad Council. Two of these companies are actually Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson, go figure. But then, of course, Google, Walgreens, these other big companies have representation there. The Ad Council, though, it's been around for quite a while. It was 1942 when President Roosevelt used the Ad Council to encourage Americans to buy war bonds. Ad Councils also kind of helped push awareness for the polio vaccine, created awareness around the AIDS virus. And, of course, in respect of COVID, we're seeing, obviously, them encourage this campaign around vaccination. But it's not enough. It's not enough.
No, it isn't. And my fear is the next step is going to be, okay, if I work for Google or if I work for Walgreens, Sam Adams, any of these companies, am I going to have to get a vaccination to continue working for them? That's the next step.
Passports, right?
Yeah, I think this is where it's going, and I think it's very dangerous because then you're forcing someone to choose between your employer and your health. And you never want to put somebody in that position. Same as you never want to put an employee in a position to choose between his work and his family. You lose on every one of those times. Anyway, Adam Rizzieri, Chief Marketing Officer, Agency Partner, Interactive. Always great catching up with you. You have a great weekend, my friend, and stay well.
Thank you, sir. Have a great one.